Welcome to the Top Performance Strength Podcast, hosted by myself, Kip Steingart, co-hosted by Declan Peterson, my partner in crime, sitting next to me here. We're joined by my good buddy, Joe Bliston. What's going on, Joe?
Nothing really, man. Just hanging out with Kip, Declan.
Yeah. Joe and Declan meeting each other for the first time. Guys, prepare yourself for this podcast. It's probably going to be the most entertaining one you've heard since we started the TPS podcast a couple of years ago, but nonetheless, it's going to be a good one. Joe's got a bit of a unique background. He's not a baseball player, I'll tell you that much. He's sitting here at whopping, I think, 305 you were telling me?
Yeah, right around there.
305. He was a football player at UW Oshkosh. Just graduated this past year.
Yeah, again.
Right? Yeah,
two degrees, man.
Again, 2 degrees. You got your master's now?
Yeah.
What are we rolling with? What's our bachelor's and our master's?
So I got my bachelor's degree in 2019 in psychology, and then I'm like, all right, well, I need to get a master's. COVID hits, I want to keep playing, so go back, get my master's in athletic leadership and sport management. Hopefully, leverage that to coach and stay, around this stuff.
Yep.
You guys get it. You're still coaching baseball.
Yep.
You're playing,
right.
so shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the route that every athlete goes down if their athletic career doesn't pan out. The majority of guys are going to go down the coaching route, hopefully to give and offer a lot of guidance and direction to the athletes that they work with that maybe they didn't have when they were going through the ranks.
Yeah.
Right?
Or they sell insurance.
For all of us. Yeah, or they sell insurance. yeah.
There's always that,
Exactly.
Oh, jeez,
man. So we got a lot to talk about today, right? You got a lot of good things going on right now.
Yeah, man.
Just been catching up over the last couple of days, so I know you guys you said you were pretty fortunate. You didn't know if you were going to get your past season in this past, or your the season in this past year, or was it the year prior?
So when COVID hit in 2020, we're like, okay, I was getting ready to go to camp. We're like working out, and I got a call one day, like, hey, we gotta meet and talk. Send up our conference, cancel the 2020 season, and then I was like, I'm done. I graduated. I don't need to go back. I was like, I'll go back. You only got so many games, and honestly, it's like the best decision I made to go back for that 2021 season. So yeah, screwed COVID a little bit, but shit, it kind of helped me out. I hate to say that out loud. That's kind of bad, but but athletically, it was a gift.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys out there, that were running down that last season, kind of get that too. Like, any more time to play is like, it's just give me.
Yeah.
It's free ball.
Yeah, exactly. So it took you 6 years to get there, but you finally got 4 years of college football under your belt, right?
I got there in 2015.
Yeah, so you're an old man now.
Yeah, I'm old for what I'm doing. I'm 25.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yep, you're catching up to us.
Not you.
Not me.
You got a 3 in front of your name.
Not even close, man. I could barely walk this past week. Honestly. We're doing okay now. We're doing better, but this isn't about me right now. We're not going to talk about...
How you're like 32?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and I forget.
That's good. It's wisdom. It's not age. It's just wisdom years.
Exactly. Wise beyond my years. They call me an old soul for a reason.
So get us back on track, Joe. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your football journey, maybe starting in high school and going through college, and then kind of talking a little bit about what your experience was in college football.
Yeah, so I'm a graduate of Vernon Hills High School, class of 2015.
Class of 2008.
Yeah. Were you the first class that was all 4 years, or did you go to Libertyville for the first 2?
No, I think the first class was in 04.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but so I started there. I played offensive line, honestly, since I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So I got to there, to Vernon Hills, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna play offensive line. I was like, oh shit, all right, cool. Mm-hmm. So then just kept rolling. I ended up getting hurt pretty bad going into my junior season, missed that year, and I don't know how many football guys listen to this, but I'm sure in baseball you have a year that's like your big recruiting year.
Yeah.
But for football, your junior high school is like your big year. You get that's where you get most of your offers, your junior day visits, your camps. And you basically commit going into your senior year if you go to one of these big name schools. So I lost out on that. Had a couple opportunities that was really cool. Came down to it. I had a preferred walk-on from a smaller D1 school, and I had a bunch of D3 schools, and I was like, what's the best for me? Where am I going to play? What coaching staff do I get along with the best? And I just had to make a decision. I ended up going with UW Oshkosh. Then head coach Pat Cerrone. He's a dude, man. He's kind of like a blue-collar dude. Doesn't blow smoke. he tells you how it is, man.
Yeah.
I got stories about that guy. He's a great dude. The whole
Yeah.
staff there was awesome, so I ended up going there. 2015, I went through that gray shirt process. So in Division III, a lot of these bigger Division III football, it's kind of like a red shirt process where you don't play. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
But unlike redshirting, when you gray shirt, you just work out and go to school. So I wasn't even practicing. So like literally, that whole first year, it was just work out every day, do your homework, do your laundry, do other college things. But that's about it for the first year.
Yeah.
Come back 2016, I get hurt. So I get hurt 3 weeks in, miss most of that season, get a medical red shirt, and then from there, I was pretty fat. So then I had to get my stuff in check. Dropped the weight, played, and then came back all the way, 2019. Started at right tackle, started at left guard, played, and then this season I just balled out at right tackle and had myself a little year.
Yeah.
Now I'm at where I'm at, and it's cool, man.
Yeah, man. So like taking it back a little bit to high school. You said your junior year is pretty much like the year, like the biggest year for high school football players.
Yeah.
Right. So like, why is that? First of all, why is it your junior year that like you start generating some interest from schools?
So a lot of those guys, they get. This how it was in 2015, and the transfer portal wasn't like as big as it is now. Now it's crazy and like, everything. I'm sure it's the same in baseball.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
Dudes are all over the place. So.
Yeah. I mean, like the last couple of years since COVID hit has kind of been a bit of a setback for some guys, and you're gonna get some guys who are sticking around for another additional year or two. We know the COVID year didn't really count for. Or even the year after COVID, I think last year was pretty much a free year.
Yeah,
I could have
went for 7
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I went for 4, but I could have went for 7 with everything.
Right.
Yeah, so back when I was coming out, like junior year, like schools show interest before, but that's the year you really collect your offers and make the decisions and stuff. Just because I think I don't necessarily know all the reasons, but I assume a lot of it has to do with they have a better idea where their roster is, their needs, because guys leave, guys transfer, they declare, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's that big year, and that kind of makes it so you go into your senior year, you don't really have that stress, you just play.
Yeah, and like I like one of the things that you had said about like it's not just about playing at the Division I level, because like you hear it from all the high school guys. It's like they're so sold on just playing Division I.
Yeah.
But like you toss upon like where you're gonna go, where you're gonna play, and where you're gonna go, where you're gonna develop, and like some of the questions that you had to ask yourself, right? As far as choosing the best possible option for you, where you could further your development. So like what are some of the main things that you personally considered when it came to making that decision?
So D3, there's a ton of schools. Like you play D3 ball. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of baseball schools.
There's like almost 400.
Yeah, compared to like D1 schools, like it's crazy.
Yep.
So for me, I was like, all right, let's narrow it down. What conferences are the conferences to play in?
Yeah.
Right. So I went to the WEAC, which is the best football conference
Good
in the country.
one too.
Yeah. There's no can't cuss, sorry. Not a crappy like a school, like when it comes to it. So we I just made that decision to basically play in the WEAC. So then Oshkosh, it came down to like what the coach's messages, how they like kind of. I don't like people that just sell you shit. Oh, there it is. Just sell you, right? They're not gonna like just say what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because that's not gonna help me anyways. Because everybody's got these aspirations to keep playing, and all, it's a pride check first of all when you make that D3. But I don't want somebody to say, yeah, you're gonna come in and you're gonna play, blah blah blah. Because the reality of that happening is like I'm 17, 18 years old. These dudes are like 21, 22. Like it doesn't always happen like it does like when you look on like Alabama. Like they're anomalies. You know what I mean? So I just like the message of the coaches, and I from that point I was like, all right, ride or die with it. And it was cool, ups and downs, but like overall I'm in a cool position, so it made me hungry for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So they pretty much let you know from the start that like there is no guarantee. Like if you're gonna come in, you're gonna earn every minute that you get out on the playing field, right? And like we see this with so many of the college baseball players that we've worked with over the years, that they'll go to whatever it's a Division III, Division II, junior college, wherever it may be, and they are guaranteed a spot, but then transfers end up coming in, and like before you know it, you're competing with 15 plus other guys for a position.
Yeah, for sure. It's just you just got to be hungry and want it. Like here's the other thing: if you want to play, like after college, there's so many leagues in every sport, right? Like I'm finding out with football, there's so many leagues all over the world. Like baseball, I'm probably like there's probably more. Like baseball's
there's a lot
international sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you want to play, and you're good, it doesn't really matter anymore where you go, right?
Yeah,
You got Twitter, you got Instagram, all this other stuff, social media. So you can leverage everything, and it doesn't matter what school you necessarily go to if you could play. They'll find you.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Same with high school. Like for me, like sometimes going to high school, you know, you hear, oh, I didn't go to a big school, I didn't get blah blah blah. Like I hate to say it, like that's on you sometimes too. Like you can do everything you can to leverage. If you can play, they're gonna find you. It's that simple. It's so easy now.
Yeah, so like I have a we have a pretty good idea of like what it's like to go through the recruiting process from a baseball perspective, like, but what is that process like from a football player's perspective? Because like, do you have showcases? Are there camps that you're able to attend as well?
Yeah, there's so much stuff. Like most teams have some sort of high school camp. Like if you're talking about like being in high school, right?
Yeah.
Trying to go to college, and then like there's multiple teams that go to a camp. Like when I was in high school, I went to the Northwestern Showcase a couple times. And they had like 100+ coaches of like all levels, and they just go and evaluate you.
Yeah.
You know, and you have different things. You run your 40, you do like your testing numbers, and then you do your field specific based on your position. Mm-hmm. So there's a ton of evaluation. There's a ton of opportunities. It's just picking what opportunities are right. Because a lot of these guys are like D1 or bust. I'm gonna go to the Alabama camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who the best baseball school is, like, at all right now.
Yeah, UCLA, Vanderbilt.
Okay. I'm going to go to the Vanderbilt camp. Cool. Okay. Like, what are you going to do? What else are you going to do? Because, like, so are the best guys in the country. They're going there, too.
Right.
Like, it's good to compete with the best, but you got to spread around, too, because there's so many schools. Like, I'm finding out there's so many schools, D1 schools I never even heard of. Right. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. I didn't know that was even a school.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so like after going through that process, like what it was like when like some of the colleges followed up with you, like what was that conversation like? What did they like? What did they see with you that kind of led to you? Eventually choosing Oshkosh, but what kind of like weeded some of the other colleges out as well?
So for me, so going into my junior year before I had my surgery and ended up missing the season, I was going to like MAC schools. Mm-hmm. I visited a couple like bigger name schools, and it's just cool. Like when you get to visit these places, like because you're a kid, and I don't even care what sport you're in. Like you don't have to be in a sport. You dream of like doing something, right?
Yeah.
Like you probably dream about playing like big baseball, or like I was like, oh, I want to play Saturdays. That's gonna be crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And then you're like in a room in a facility, and you're like, oh, this might happen. Like you're like, oh, this is real. Mm-hmm. And then like that's like the craziest moment. Like the first time I took a visit to a school and like a unofficial visit thing, and just like listen and like was around it, I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then they call you and like, hey, we really like you, blah blah blah. Like for me, I was a big kid when my whole life I was like 6'4", 300+ pounds in high school. I wrestled at 285, so I was like 6'3", 6'2" to 6'4", and they're like, "Oh, you're a big kid," but my thing was I was like a raw talent. Like I didn't have a lot of development, so that was my biggest downfall. So like, and then getting hurt. But so for me, it was like I had to find a school that would help develop me. So like guys like are different stages. I'm sure you guys know. Like with baseball, like you got dudes that are just naturally gifted, and then you have guys that are like good size but aren't really talented, like technically. And then they're all different on the spectrum. It's the same for any sport.
Yep.
Yeah. So like for me, I was like, all right, well I'm big, I have the size, and I was kind of like a mean player. I was physical, but I wasn't technically sound. Right. So I had to find a place that was cool with that. Okay. And a lot of colleges are. They're like, even high school, like you're not in college yet, so they take the time to develop you.
Right.
So you get the calls, and you're like, man, this school's interested in me, and then you're like, where the hell is that school? You know? Yeah. So I was like, I'm sure you kind of had the same when you went to out in like Ohio. You're probably like, where's this school? A little bit.
Yeah. Especially driving there, it was like 9 hours away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, all of a sudden, oh, all right, well, there's a college here. It doesn't really look like a college town. So I totally know what that's about.
Yeah, and then you just like. I think you take enough visits, you learn. Like I can't say what everybody likes. Everybody's gonna like their own thing about a school, and then you just hit it, and you're like, I can see myself here, like, because you only play football. You only play a certain part of the year. I'm sure you have more with baseball. You have like spring ball and all that stuff, or fall ball or whatever. Yeah. But with football, you're like, man, I gotta go to school here like the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I can see myself doing that. So.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it, especially like my first school. Like it was fine outside of the baseball. But I wasn't like really in love with it like I was like my second school. Like, I wasn't super Jones to do school and whatnot. And my second school was really difficult academically. But outside of like the baseball stuff, it was somewhere where I definitely wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why I really thrived my last 2 years in college after transferring, because outside of the baseball side of things, like it was somewhere where I actually wanted to be. And it just helped me, like, I don't know, find that balance of being on the field and off the field.
Yeah, I get that, dude. Like, if you enjoy being around them, or even like your teammates, like that's the crazy thing too. Like, if you like your recruiting class, the guys on the team, like if you don't like being around them, that sucks. That is a long year.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're with these dudes all the time.
All the time.
But if you're cool with it, like it's easy.
Yeah.
It's
It makes it way easier.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, man. Culture is everything. Just like training environment is everything.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Right. You want to be around. You want to be associated with the guys who are going to push you and like they're going to call you on your bullshit if you're falling off the wayside. And
Yeah. I think that even goes like into like now, like you guys got a bunch of like high school kids that listen to this, I'm sure, and like you know, like the dudes that you hang out with during your recruiting process matter. Like if you're associating yourself with dudes that like they don't even have to be like, all right, for like me, other football players. It's just dudes that like want the same thing, or chicks or whoever. Like you hang out with people that like want the same thing. Like you don't want to just be complacent. Like if you hang out with people that are bums, like that's not gonna help you. Like they're gonna be like, oh, let's go like do some stupid crap, you know, and you're like, man, it's so hard not to cuss. Damn. And then you're like, no, I gotta get a workout, and they're like, screw that workout, blah blah blah. Like, that's not gonna help anything.
No.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty straight level dude. Like I know your work ethic and your level of discipline. You never allowed anything like that to sidetrack you, right? You've always been able to stay on track. And
when I got older,
yeah.
You know,
okay,
like,
so it took you a while.
It took me
there.
a long time to get to this point. Like, dude, like, so you know, nobody's perfect. Like, I definitely struggled with that, especially when I first got to school, because like that was an adjustment in and of itself. But like once I learned, like that's what to do. Like everything was better. Like. My workouts were better, my lifts were better, I was healthier, I played better, school was better, like everything was better when I associated with people that had like a similar drive as myself. Like that was pretty cool. That was probably like the one of the best things I learned.
What finally kind of led to you making that decision as far as shifting your perspective and then kind of changing your approach that led to making a better decision to help you get to where you are now?
Not playing. You go to school, you're like, man, I'm not performing the way I want to be. You got to do like a harsh reality check. Like, in 2016, I got hurt. I missed most of the season, medical. I got up to like 400 pounds almost. Like I was super unhealthy. I'm sitting in a chair, can't even like wipe my own ass because I had like hip surgery. I was like struggling. I was like, bro, this sucks. Like I do not like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so what are you gonna do about it? And that was it. Like that's like when everything changed. Like everything. And like from there, it's been like way better, like a rocket, dude. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
So I think like if the earlier you learn that lesson, like the easier things get, because then you could like live that lifestyle. It's not like such an abrupt change. Like you can like I don't know. It made my life better. That's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely seeing where you are in life right now, right? So
I mean, I could breathe when I tie my shoes. Like that's crazy. Like at one point I was like, I'd like hold my breath, tie it, and then be like, oh damn, I'm out of breath. Like that's crazy. Like, like I'm just touching where Velcro, but but no, it's crazy. It's insane. And like just taking care of your body, bro. Everything.
Yeah, so like that's something that you had mentioned. Like you said, you were 400 plus pounds, and you're sitting at what 305 right now.
Yeah, I got down to 265. Okay. I just want to prove myself I could lose over 100 pounds. Screw it, let's do it.
Yeah, I remember, you told me that when we had first met. Like, two plus years ago now. Like, how did you go about doing that?
Just change everything.
Yeah.
So like, the 75 hard challenge. I don't know if we can shout that out here on this thing, but
that
whole thing. I did that like twice.
Form,
I did that twice.
Okay.
And I was like, screw it. The first time I was like, oh, this sucks. And then I was
got the book right there on the shelf.
Oh shit, you yeah. But I was like, so let's just do it, and I did it, and I was like, see if I can do it again. You know? Because like that challenge is addicting. Like,
it is, right?
And the second time I did it was right when like COVID hit, and I was like, I definitely need to do this now again.
Right.
Because like, challenge yourself. That was a perfect time to challenge yourself. I mean, I was with you 6 hours a day every day, like just doing stupid shit.
Yeah, we were
working out and fishing. Like
it was cool. Go back for more.
Yeah, it was awesome. But like, just doing stuff like that, challenging myself. I start eating better. I didn't like just eat wings and pizza and drink beer and stuff like that as a 21-year-old. Sorry, I gotta say that. I didn't do stupid stuff like that. I took care. I took note of what was going in my body, what I was doing. Like I was make sure I was walking the 45 minutes a day, outside workout. Just go for a walk, man. Like it's that easy. Like when you're that big, like anything's something.
Yeah, throw on the rollerblades, right?
Yeah,
We throw the rollerblades on.
I'll
We
break my
take a little
neck.
stroll around the park, right?
I'll ride my bike. I'm not getting on rollerblades.
Yeah.
Maybe skates because they have like the 2x2s. A little safer. No, just stuff like that. Like just learning how to take care of your body. Read.
Right.
I read a lot of books about how to take care of my body. You know, to get from there, dude.
Yeah.
Like my trajectory completely changed.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like that's dope.
So it's a lifestyle change for you, right? It's just a part of your everyday life now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's okay to have fun. Like like go eat like Super Bowl and have pizza or something. But like I'm not doing that like every day. Like I was housing like a large pizza for myself. Just all like an episode of My 600-Pound Life, but not that bad. That was tough. But like you know, it was bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you start making those changes, right? Improving like your overall life with your health and your nutrition and training, right? So like what were you doing from like training perspective? Who were you training with? You had mentioned you had a long-time trainer. Is that right? Where you were training outside?
Yeah. He was my guy
for a while.
Brian Hinker. He was my guy. He used to train. I met him when I was in 3rd grade, and he was training me. He trained me all the way through until I went to college. And then when I went to college, I wasn't around. And a lot of the stuff I learned from him when I got my CPT and became a certified personal trainer. I incorporated that a lot. Like that definitely like impacted my life a lot. I got back to a lot of things I learned when I was growing up, and I think having that like that building block, that base block of understanding, is fucking
Sorry.
huge. It's huge like for your development. It's something easy to get back to. So like I see you working with like. I mean, I'm gonna shout out Kip here. If you're listening to this and your kid ain't training with Kip, or you're not training with Kip, you're stupid, okay? Because he's gonna give them building blocks of success, and that's all you want, right? For your kid or for yourself. Like, if you really want to be an athlete, like, you gotta have those blocks. So if you're listening to this and your kid ain't here training with Kip, you're stupid.
There you go.
Yeah, that is something that me and Declan talk about all the time. It's like it's about our philosophy is looking at everything from a long-term perspective. Right? That's pretty much the main thing that's going to guide my decision-making process when I'm training and I'm coaching an athlete, regardless of where they are in their development. But especially with like some of the younger guys, say like 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. So like we talk about the foundational aspect all the time as far as just working on the fundamental movement patterns, like 12 all the way through high school. Basically, it's like it's really getting dialed in on the skill acquisition of teaching a kid how to squat properly, teaching a kid how to deadlift and hinge properly, a lunge, a push-up, a pull, sprint work. We do our fair share of med ball work, and we teach kids proper landing and jumping
balance
activities.
Dude. For me,
right.
I was like a baby giraffe. I used to walk, buckle, like I couldn't even stand on a leg.
Like, for so long.
Yeah, but learning balance, dude, everything's so much easier when you can like balance yourself. And stability. So I've worked out with Kip. And, I don't know. I met Declan today. We seems like an alright guy, so I'll stand full approved. But like, it's for sure. Like, you know what you're doing. Like that's cool. Like even like when I came back and I was transitioning back into playing, because originally when I met you, I was like, I'm done. Like let's just lift and do this. When me and you talked, and you helped me get a program back going, I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
So back to that stamp approval. Kip Steingart, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better get your kid in here, learn, and they're gonna be a good little athlete. Yeah. Any sport.
Dude, that's like going back 2 years ago. I think we could both agree, like training in the garage in like that very condensed environment. It was just me, you, and a few other dudes that were just getting after it. Was probably like the best training environment that I was ever a part of. Like,
100%.
Without question, like training around yourself and some of the other guys, it's like we all brought our different strengths to the table. Like you're definitely a strong guy without question. So like being around you definitely pushed me. So you want to speak to like that experience and kind of like the training environment that helped you take some of your gains to the next level?
Like the garage, man. The garage was awesome. Let me finish. All right, so all you have to do all day is work out, we ate a lot of sushi. I think we ate,
Yeah, we
I
did.
think we like kept the Mundelein and Vernon Hills sushi restaurants in business, like just
We did.
us, like the 6 of us, like stupid amounts of sushi.
You're not playing.
No, ride your bike and fish like for hours. Like, dude, come on, how bad could that be? Like,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Like, I know talking about COVID before I talk about the garage,
Right.
is like a touchy subject.
Yeah.
But it's just a lesson, essentially, like what you choose to do with your time. Like COVID itself, I'm not gonna get into that because, like, I don't know, but that gave people a lot of time to either learn and grow, or
Fall
do
back.
absolutely nothing and fall behind.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was just like a super exaggerated, time where you like, I don't know if that's the right word. I'm not an
Yeah,
English
whatever.
major, but like it was just a time where you had those two choices. You have those two choices every day, but you just had more time to make those two choices.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. What you learn, like what I learned from COVID, is you got to make the most of it. Like I have essentially 24 hours to do nothing. Like, am I gonna sit at home and play video games all day, or am I gonna like do something?
Yeah.
So we, all of us in the garage, I'm sure you two, I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about it a little bit,
Times, yeah.
chose to do something. Like
Yeah.
that was the strongest I think up until where I am right now. At that point, that was the strongest I've ever been. Like I was hanging out with dudes that all we did was lift weights and eat good. Like it
Yeah.
was nice,
Good
dude.
influence.
It was nice, and nobody
Yep.
was like. I mean, people do dumb things all the time. Like when you accidentally, the wind accidentally knocked over that cabinet your dad was
Yeah,
building and
yeah.
broke it. But I'm not gonna snitch here. Like, it was the
Yeah.
wind.
We know it was the wind.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just stupid wind. Sorry, Jeff. But no, like, just dude, that environment was crazy, and everybody learned something too. Like, I came in with, obviously what I know, and how I've trained.
Yeah,
you came
yeah.
in with how you trained.
Yeah, exactly.
Ryan came in with what he knew, and we all
Right.
just like made like a big old mash of just stuff, and the workouts were crazy.
Yeah.
and that's the best part because there's so much variability in it.
Exactly.
It was dope.
Yeah.
I definitely miss it.
Yeah, Dude, yeah. There's definitely I think the important lesson in that is like when you're going through some type of setback or any kind of obstacle is to create an opportunity for yourself and to find a way to get the job done. Right, and
100%.
that's what you do when you're as driven and motivated or as self-motivated as guys like we are. It's like we are going to find a way to get this job done no matter what. And
Yeah,
nothing is
it's
gonna
so
stand in the
easy to
way.
be like,
Yeah.
the gyms are closed. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh,
Take it easy, bro.
I couldn't get my work."
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you mean? Like for me, like obviously,
Just you find an excuse or you find a reason.
yeah,
right?
I still like during that time, I still had schoolwork, so I had to do like my online classes or whatever for 4 or 5 hours, whatever, get my work done because
Damn.
the school I went to was really hard academically for Franciscan. So I had a lot of work to do. But after that, from say 1 until whenever, I had free time. So a normal day for me would be all right, I'd make sure I ate something and then I'd just go out and see where the day would take me. It consists of something lifting in my garage, I was telling you, pushing my car in neutral for sled pushes and throwing some med balls around, and then
Dude, I remember you telling me that you were throwing baseballs in your apartment room at one point. Is that right?
oh yeah, that was at my dorm room.
Yeah, your dorm room. Yeah.
Yeah, I was throwing flies. So this was when I was in college, my senior year. I had to quarantine for COVID, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not taking time off. So what I did was I took my crappy mattress, dorm mattress, put it up against my window, and Joe, you probably don't know, there's something called plyo balls. They're these rubber balls filled with sand, and usually pitchers and throwers will throw them against a wall. That way you don't need a catch partner. Well, what I decided to do was I threw them over into my mattress in my small dorm room. Next thing you know, I'm busting out my radar gun, and I'm getting radared throwing into the mattress. Now I look back, I didn't even think I was going to miss and hit the wall or a window, but I definitely could have broke something. I didn't even think about it. So I turned on music, I spread everything out, and I'm freaking full on throwing almost as hard as I can in my dorm room with plyo balls. It looked stupid as hell, but I got my work in.
Yeah.
All my buddies, that had to quarantine and whatnot, I wound up testing negative, never tested positive, but for a few days, I had to do that, and we just got creative. We did that. We had a mini bat with these small baseballs, and we hit those. We worked on some drill work and progressions and feels one-handed, and we got our work. And I did workouts in a lot of isometric holds. Trying to lift my mattress with everything I can put on there for a hinge pattern. Got it done. And then when I came back, I think first or second game, I actually hit a home run. After being in quarantine, which was really funny because it was not ideal training conditions whatsoever.
Yeah, but you made it work.
I made it work.
That's
And
all you gotta
looking
do.
back, I'm man, why didn't I make any excuses? It was I I just like same thing with the quarantine. Like I found a way to get it done. Yeah, it probably wasn't the most optimal doing rows with a backpack full of weights, and filling it up with books or whatever, or pushing my car. But like I learned a lot about training and what works and how to work with what I had. I was playing long toss by myself. I was throwing plyo balls against the wall by myself, having to constantly connect with people to try to find somebody to throw me batting practice. And from that, actually, I met my buddy Jeremy. We reconnected over COVID, and he's my one of my hitting coaches, and we hit literally 6-7 days a week now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a great relationship and friendship that we built just because I reached out over COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fruits that I definitely gained over COVID, and it sounds like you did too, man.
Yeah. I mean, here's the other thing. Like, we're talking like one avenue here, and it's kind of an extreme. I was super lucky because first of all, one day I was at Bears Fit and I was just doing Norman Tech on my legs. And I sat down next to Kip and struck up a conversation, and that's how we became friends.
Yeah.
I was on a walk one day with my other buddy. I walked past him. He's like, "Hey, come check out my garage gym." I was like, "All right, I got nowhere else to work out." So it like just happened by chance, But I was
It
fortunate.
was meant to be, Joe.
Yeah.
Meant to be, baby.
Destiny.
Destiny.
God moment.
Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
cute.
Love that.
Yeah.
No, but like, I was fortunate enough to find somebody that had a garage gym, right? So we're talking about that, but when you look at the greater scale of things, right? Like in you practicing in your dorm room in college, like you're a college athlete. Like these are like super specific things, but I know you got other people to listen to, so like at the end of the day, like anything you can do, not just from a physical standpoint, like you got to make the most of your time because you only get 24 hours in a day. You know what I mean? So like just broadening it out a little bit, like making the most out of that time, no matter the avenue, like business. You know what I'm saying? Like there's still things you can do for business development. I know you did over COVID when you had that extra time, like when we weren't working out. And I'm sure with school, education, like everybody's got other things too. Yeah. So this, I don't know your audience, but like I'm sure that people's parents listen to this too, and like in the day you have so much time, make the most out of the time. You have stuff for your family, like everything. So that was my biggest thing I learned from the whole COVID thing, and it definitely helped my trajectory to where I am now. Is like breaking that down, like every day you get an opportunity. And if that's too much sometimes to think about, man, every hour I got an opportunity. What am I going to do? What am I going to do before what am I going to have for lunch? Like, that's an opportunity. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing I learned from COVID, or that whole time period. And I think that's something that, like, if I learned sooner, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, why I when you asked me to be on here, I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, oh, heck yeah, my bad. I'll be on this thing. Like, 'cause, like, I wish there's so many things. I'm sure you both get it, too. Like, you could say to, like, younger athletes or younger people or basically anybody that are in a similar situation that you've been in, like that's I'm sure why you're coaching, why you're doing what you do, kid, and like why I want to coach it after I'm done playing, like because we have this sweet opportunity.
Yeah, man, I wish I would have known these things. I always had people that told me that all the time, and like I've like you were talking about like one of your like injuries and how that really set you like on a trajectory to go upward. And I'm kind of the same way. Like my sophomore year, I hurt my left knee for a second time. And I missed like my whole sophomore year, and during that time, that's like where I really started to dig into like the training side of things, because I always loved like doing extra work, lifting and everything, but like I didn't understand like the ins and outs and the X's and O's about strength training and speed and agility and skill work and skill acquisition. So I just while I was hurt, I just dove into that avenue. I did as much as I could. But I kind of changed my perspective. Instead of being all depressed and being all sad and woe is me, I was like, all right, well, who are the guys I want to be? Okay, well, I want to be like this guy and this guy. And one of those guys, my buddy Jose, still plays indie ball at a high level, plays professional baseball, and we still talk to this day. And I would just pick their brains, like at games and practices. I would pay attention to like what everyone was thinking about. Like I would maybe pick one player and just like follow them and see their ins and outs. And I would pick their brain, and annoy them and stuff like that. And then when practice and games were over, I would do whatever I could for physical therapy, get an upper body workout in, do whatever I could. But then I would just research and connect with people and just learn as much as I could. And then once I became healthy, when I got back to the field, it almost was like, man, like, I didn't, like, I needed, I was a little rusty, but it felt like I was still so present in the game. And then after that, like, my career just went straight up from there, basically, because I made the most of the opportunity. It sucked at the time, but the fruits that I gained from that were like invaluable, dude. Like 100%. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because why not? But like saying like I even said that like I wish I knew then like what I know now, but like the other part of me is like, no, I'm glad I didn't know it because I'm cool with like the whole process. Like that's the other thing. Like that process is almost more beneficial than the knowledge. Yeah. So it's tough. Like you know, as a coach, you want people to like figure it out themselves, but you also don't want to watch them struggle the way you struggle. So like you have to find this middle ground so they still develop on their own, but like it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
You know,
No, you definitely still have to allow them to make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, like you want them to learn on their own, but that's where there's got to be some kind of middle ground. Of course, like when somebody's under the bar, for example, it's like, you know, you're not messing around when there's resistance training involved, because that could definitely be
100%.
that could be harmful, right? And
No,
like,
you got it. No, I
don't. Yeah. And like we've
No
we've
clips.
I've learned that one too many times. Where I've pinned the bar on my chest before, but
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I was there.
definitely, man. Yeah, you've been there before. And
I didn't help you.
probably saved my life 1 or 2 times, or maybe you just, let it sit there for a
helped
few
you
seconds
eventually.
before I had to save my own life. But flight or flight.
Yeah,
kicks in.
100%.
It's like, it's pretty much do or die at that point.
Literally.
I guess so, like, kind of shifting gears here, so, like, looking at a physical preparation standpoint, like, all the lessons that obviously you guys have learned, and I know you've kind of been around the block is quite a bit, Joe, as far as, like, you've been exposed to numerous coaches and, like, methodologies and philosophies and whatnot, but where are you right now? Like, I know you had mentioned that, you've had some pro tryouts over the last couple of months, or some pro camps, and you have some pro camps coming up as well. Like, what are you doing from a standpoint to continue to prepare yourself physically?
So, as far as my process, when I was done playing, I was fortunate enough. All right, I'll restart. Rewind. Whoop. All right. So, coming out of school, I was like, all right, I'm kind of done. D3 guy, I didn't know. But I guess I had a really good season. Get invited to this all-star game in Virginia called the Dream Bowl. Started in it over some D1 guys, played really well. It was awesome. I get an invite to go to the National Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. Not the NFL Combine, it's like a smaller school one. I performed well there. I meet some contacts. I talk to some scouts, in all different types of leagues, the indoor league in Canada, stuff like that. And then I have my pro day. And during that period, I was really just training on mobility, speed, strength, just combine testing. That's what it's a business. I'm sure baseball's the same way. They care about these numbers,
60,
these metrics.
but does it really help you like in game? That's the hard
it's a way for them to compare you to other people.
Yeah, kind of outdated test, but nonetheless, I can understand the comparisons.
Yeah, and you got to perform, because we can sit here and say, "Oh, it's outdated." Oh.
It's after time.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna do.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
So if you go in there and you're not prepared,
you're screwed.
That's it. As much as some people don't like it, or I wish that they evaluated game film a little bit more, or more functional based testing, especially as an lineman, because I'm not really ever running 40 yards.
Yeah, why does an lineman need to run a 40-yard dash?
Kind of like a baseball player, we never run 60 yards in a straight line ever.
But unless you want to make a team, you do.
Yes, exactly. So that's why,
for
example, I just this off season I had to focus more on top end speed, even though I'm hardly ever in it for baseball, especially as an infielder.
Yeah.
But
for me in that process, I was comfortable with how I played. And I know my focus has to be on these metrics. So I took some time, I trained, I'm focused on the metrics. It went well, I'm still talking to some teams. But now I'm looking at, transfer back into playing specific type movements, overall strength, overall speed, not just dialed in on the specifics of these patterns and stuff like that I had to do.
Yeah.
So it's a different transition phase, but that's just my workouts. I'm looking. I train with some great people. I've learned a lot. The thing about training is there's so many ways to do it, but everybody has to find the way that works best for them.
Yeah.
Everybody's got different body makeup and strength and whatever. There's so much different factors. You got to find what works best for you. But as far as the business process of where I'm at. After my game, I played well. Like I said, I tested okay at the combine. My pro day was way better. I turned some heads. I have an agent now, and they're kind of talking with some teams across the border in Canada, indoor teams. And I'm just trying to, make the most of any opportunity that comes along, and not really overlook anything. It's just a tough process, man. You get it. You played in all these leagues. Like, you got to bet on yourself, but also there's a fine line between betting on yourself and just not playing anymore because you bet too much on yourself. So there's so many factors that go in. I'm like, hey, I was doing it on my own for a while, or I had mentors and people help me. But I went with an agent that had more connections, and it's tough, man, because I never knew what was going on, and now I'm in it.
Yeah.
But bet on yourself, but also you gotta listen to everything going around. It's a weird middle ground. Honestly, I'm not good at talking about this stuff. I can talk about the lift and shit, but the process is so tough. Like in any sport, you know what I'm saying. Like, and then I don't know if baseball has it, but there's this time period where you don't hear anything, and like you might not hear anything.
Yeah, it's in. So like, I'll just like kind of compare a little bit with my experience in professional baseball. Is like going out of like college. I had no offers from any major league organizations or minor league scouts, but I did have some scouts and coaches within independent professional baseball from like 2 or 3 leagues. I probably had maybe 5 or 6 teams that were like interested, and I had one team that like definitely wanted me, and that was the team I signed with in Santa Fe, a team called the Santa Fe Fuego out of New Mexico. And then after my season, like I had a solid season, not great, but definitely not bad, like really solid, played great defensively, had a solid year offensively. But then after that, like I'm a free agent, and I reached out to different scouts and coaches and like sent out, emails and worked some connections, and I just heard nothing. Like literally nothing. Like not even a no thank you. And like it was like, and I put so much time into this, like getting like data and stuff and like numbers and working it smart, so I'm plugging and playing what metrics I really am good at and my stats from last year, and I didn't get one response. I probably reached out, I don't even know, 20 coaches, scout. Like I'm looking at like director of player development and baseball
sheet with
dude,
like their name.
Everyone, dude. Like I'm digging for emails and phone numbers. Nothing, not one thing, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell? Like, do I suck? I'm like, I thought I had a pretty good year, and like some of the coaches from the league I played in thought I played well, and like they were interested in me playing for them next year. But then like over this offseason, like basically I'm at the point where I'm going to be going to tryouts with like multiple different leagues. I'm going to one for the Pioneer League, and then a lot of Frontier League teams like in our area. But it's really difficult, man, like moving up levels, and then there's like red tape everywhere with like, if with the league I played in last year, the Pecos League, if I go and play in so-and-so Winter League, which is in front of a bunch of coaches, maybe they'll sign me, but there's also going to be a lot of dudes. But if I bet on myself and I go, that's cool. But if I don't make it, then I can't go back to the same league because the commissioner doesn't like all these winter leagues.
Oh, that's tough.
So I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? And after my first year of pro ball, I'm like, yeah, I want to bet on myself. But then if I, I'm at like the league I played at last year, it's like a lower to mid level,
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to like the mid to mid high level, like independent leagues. Well, if I don't make it out of some of these winter leagues and camps that are put on, then I got to go to the bottom of the barrel, like almost like men's league. And I'm like, that's lower than I was before, so what do I do? Do I just go back? It's so hard trying to figure out where to bet on yourself and whatnot, because it could work out, but if it doesn't, then I could be really screwed, especially being so young still.
Yeah, the toughest part about this whole process, dude, like in any sport, in any realm, is like you don't hear back, right? So like you get this little voice in your head, that little self-doubt voice, right?
Just give it up, quit.
Oh, like,
you
don't got blah, blah, blah. But like, that's when you have to grind. Like, that's the point where you're like, no, that's not what's up. Like, I think at that point, having an established support system, a network of people. Like, I'm so fortunate. I've met a lot of great people, a lot of mentors. Like Nell Hubanks, he was a tight ends coach for us. He's like my guy. Like, I bounce a lot of things. Like, hey, like this is what's going on with me. Like, I don't know how to process this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was working at the Y, and I met this guy. He played for the Packers. His name's Rich Moran. Like, one of the best sounding boards I've had. He played in the league. He played for the Packers. Like,
yeah.
So like, I was fortunate enough to like meet these people and be like, hey, this is what's going on. Like, what do you think? What's your feedback? And at the same time, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, like, don't let this thing beat you. Like, you've been through worse. Get up, grind, work, go to a tryout, show out, and then whoever said no and whoever said that, double bird them. They're wrong, and then roll forward. Dude, I didn't cuss there. You see that? Yeah, double bird.
It's funny because I feel like you and I are going through like a lot of the same stuff, and I want to get like your take on it, because I feel like every year and every offseason I keep on getting better and better, and like I love the game, and I just like have this like God-driven desire to keep on playing and playing and playing. So like I sometimes like, man, why am I still doing this? But I just feel like this burning desire, like in my soul, to just keep on going. So I do. But like every off season keeps on getting tougher and tougher, but like in a different way. But I keep on progressing. But especially like mentally, it gets harder and harder like every single off season, at least for myself personally. And like finding mentors or people that like you can like reach out to has really helped. Like I know like one guy like in particular that's really helped me is a guy by the name of Jack Sawinski, who's in the Pirates organization, and like me and him have formed a pretty good friendship. And you know, he's a year older than me. He's kind of at the point where I want to be. He's on a 40-man roster with the Pirates, and like he has a very good shot at breaking with the major league club this year. And like I like, you know, he was kind of just like we kind of connected because he was training here and we were going to a lot of the same like training facilities, and just, you know, by chance he happened to be there, and he was, you know, like friendly enough to take the time to like answer my questions and stuff like that. And you know, I'm asking him like, oh, like, do you ever deal with this? And he's like, oh yeah, dude, all the time. I'm like, oh, okay, so like I'm not the only one. Because a lot of times you think, you're like, man, I've never heard anybody like think about this, or I've never had anybody be like struggle with this, ever talk about this. But when you get to the higher level, it's like everyone does.
It's kind of funny, right? There's kind of that fear that we all keep inside of us. It's like, does everybody feel this way at times? Like, does everybody like have that voice inside of their head, or even kind of feel like giving up or quitting? But like, come to find, like, you know, we're all human. We're all
you
the
gotta
same
wake
boat
up
here,
and
right?
do it, bro.
I think that's definitely something that's been helpful, right? Is you have conversations with everybody about these things, and you kind of learn from their mentality, and you adopt their mentality, and you know, that helps you grow stronger in that area.
That's everything, dude.
Right?
Like, there's times we're working out in the garage. Like, man, my legs hurt. Oh, so you're not coming? Really? Like, you know, like, all right, I'm riding my bike over. It's a good warm up. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Like, in every avenue,
That's
man.
it,
Nobody
man.
wants to be like, nah, I'm not feeling like it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not this, no, I'm not that.
Yeah, it's just
Everybody
when you
gets it,
have
but-
that type of brotherhood, right? You have that type of bond where you know you go through those challenges and adversity together. That's how you all grow stronger. It's like, you know, if you have some kind of like whatever lame ass excuse or whatever bullshit it might be, like you're gonna get called out on it, and like we're not gonna allow you to do that, and you wouldn't allow us to do that
It's
either.
all love.
It's like, yeah, it's all love. It's you know.
And
You got each other's backs.
It makes
man.
the
You got each
victories
other's
that
backs.
much sweeter.
Yeah, yes, it
every
does.
dub, every win,
Yeah.
that much better. When,
Yeah.
when you know you like you know, when you get, you know, I don't even say if, when you get that call that you're gonna go to that mid major. I'm not. I think that's what you said. You know,
basically.
you're gonna be like, yeah, you know, like I'm here. This is what everything was for, and then now you're there, and now the challenge is. Do you keep that work ethic and take the next step on the ladder, or do you get complacent
And a lot
and
of
be
people
like,
do.
"Well, I made it where I wanted to go." No, keep rolling.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
That's how I feel. And the thing that helps me, I don't know how many teams there are. I feel like there's a million baseball teams. All right, in Canada, all right, there's 9 teams. In the NFL, there's 32. Indoor league, there's a lot. But let's say I want to play in Canada. You know, somebody told me like, all right, you're at a bar and you're looking to hang out with somebody. You're over 21 years old, and you know, out of the 9 people, how many need to like you? One. You know, that's all it takes. One person.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same way with athletics and teams. Like, it takes one scout, one team, and you're in. You don't need to impress all 32 NFL teams. You don't need to impress all 9 Canadian teams. You don't need to impress how many Pioneer teams?
This year I think there's been about 14.
You don't need to impress all 14 of them. You need one person to give you the nod.
Yeah.
And then you build. And it's the same thing with, you know, business or clients, right, Kip? Like, you know, there's 9,000 people. I don't know. I made that number up. There's probably more. Like, in this general area. Do you need all 9,000 to train with you? You only need one to build a business. And then you do a good job. It keeps rolling. Like, that's how I wake up. Like, and it took me, like, a long time to get to this point. And, like, I'm just glad I'm here now. And I'm sure that you guys feel the same way. Like, man, it would have been cool if I knew this earlier.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the basis of this podcast, quite honestly.
Yeah, I didn't even make fun of Kip or anything. That's my guy. I love that guy. So you should come train with Kip. Did I say that already?
Yeah.
You should come train with Kip.
You say it one more time?
You should come train with Kip. And
Yeah,
Declan, if
fellas,
he's
like-
coaching.
I think we're about an hour into this podcast, and we try to keep it to about an hour to ensure that everybody is staying attentive and engaged. But I mean, this could, without question, probably go up to like a part 25 podcast,
Yeah, I'll
right?
keep
I mean,
going.
I know we could talk about this all day long. So
Yeah.
I think, Joe, what we're gonna have to do is, you know, for as long as you're still around, we're definitely gonna have to. We're going to have you come on back, and we're going to have to continue this conversation, and you're going to have to give us an update on where you are.
Yeah, only if you bring sushi.
With your process, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do sushi burritos.
Sushi burritos, man. Check it out.
Sushi
I hope
burritos
the
on the
place is
way,
still
yeah.
open. I hope it's still open.
I'm sure it's still open.
So good.
We'll find
Sushi is
out.
good.
We'll find out soon enough.
That's the best thing.
So hey, stay tuned for next Saturday. We'll hopefully do part 2 sometime next week when we get our schedules coordinated, and we'll come back to you more with the Top Performance Strength podcast with myself, Declan Peterson, my co-host, and our guy Joe Bliston. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed the podcast, please do us a favor and share it. We don't have any ads on this podcast. We're trying to get this to grow organically. So if you think anybody would benefit from listening to this and some of the lessons that were shared today, again, the main kind of like the central theme of this podcast is to bring on current and/or former college athletes, mainly baseball, but Joe being a football guy, and to come on and talk about their perspective and the process and the developmental process and just kind of the overall process of where they are right now and where they are going, and just again some of the lessons that they could offer to you guys that will help you make better informed decisions wherever you are right now in your development.
Yes.
And train the kid.
And on that note, peace.